Forget everything you know about the Vikings. The truth is their greatest weapon wasn't the axe. It was something far more powerful. What if the world's most feared warriors were also farmers, explorers, and traders? This is the real story of the Vikings. The Vikings came from Scandinavia. But they were more than warriors. This was their daily life. Life in Scandinavia was harsh. Limited farmland and long winters forced many to seek new opportunities. Beyond their shores was a vast world waiting to be explored. The Vikings began looking toward the sea. To conquer the sea, they needed the perfect vessel. The answer was the Viking longship. But these ships were not only fast, they could carry Vikings where few dared to travel. Their first journeys were not just raids. They were searching for land, wealth, and new possibilities. But the Vikings were not only explorers. They became feared when their ships reached the shores of Europe. The attack on Lindisfarne shocked Europe. But why did the Vikings choose this quiet place? Why monasteries? They held gold, silver, and priceless books, but had almost no soldiers to defend them. For the Vikings, these raids were quick. They arrived by sea, claimed what they wanted, and vanished before help arrived. But the Vikings were not just raiders. They were traders who connected distant worlds. Their world was larger than most people imagined. Viking ships reached places far beyond Europe. Long before modern explorers crossed the Atlantic, Vikings reached a land they called Vinland. A Viking sword could cost the value of several cows. Most warriors couldn't afford one, so they fought with axes and spears instead. Archaeologists have uncovered hundreds of Viking combs, along with tweezers and ear cleaners. They cared far more about grooming than most people imagine. Some Vikings carved grooves into their front teeth. Archaeologists found them, but no one knows exactly why. Vikings also left messages behind. Some runestones still stand today, telling stories from over 1,000 years ago. Vikings didn't discover only new lands. They also discovered new markets, trading as far as Baghdad. Many Viking graves contain tiny scales. They weighed every piece of silver, because coins were often cut into smaller pieces before trading.
Viking women could own property, run farms, and even divorce their husbands under certain laws.
Not every Viking was Scandinavian. DNA studies reveal people from different backgrounds joined Viking expeditions. Some Vikings never returned home. They became the emperor's elite bodyguards in Constantinople. One Viking even carved his name into a wall. Today, you can still see that graffiti inside Hagia Sophia. The Vikings didn't just fear wolves, they kept them close. In Norse legends, wolves stood for strength, fate, and the end of the world. When Vikings died, not everyone was buried. Some powerful leaders were sent to the afterlife aboard real ships. The Vikings also had laws. They met at public assemblies called the Thing, where disputes were settled and new laws were agreed. Breaking Viking law could be costly. Some offenders were declared outlaws, losing every legal right and protection. One outlaw refused to disappear. His name was Ferric the Red, and his exile led to the discovery of Greenland. To attract settlers, Eric named the icy island Greenland. It may be history's oldest marketing trick. Around 15 years later, Leif Erikson sailed even farther west. He became the first known European to reach North America. The Vikings called it Vinland. Some historians think the name came from wild grapes. Others believe it meant rich grazing land. This wasn't just a legend. In 1960, archaeologists uncovered the remains of a real Viking settlement in Newfoundland, Canada. But the Viking settlement didn't last. Conflicts with local people and the long journey home made life too difficult.
And what about the famous horned helmet? There is no evidence Vikings wore them in battle. That idea became popular centuries later.
The Viking Age lasted nearly 300 years, but its stories still shape movies, games, and history around the world. The next time you hear the word Viking, Don't think only of raiders. Remember the explorers, traders, craftsmen, and dreamers who changed history.